Good morning. Welcome to our first episode of this podcast about inclusive education. We are Yareli and Liliana, and in this podcast, we will talk about the importance and concepts of the inclusive education.
Thank you, Lily. We currently live in a world that is constantly changing, which is why we seek to improve the educational system, since we seek to ensure that citizens have adequate living conditions.
That's right, Yareli. In this chapter, we will talk about the background and current events of the inclusive education.
All right. First of all, inclusive education seems to ensure that all students, regardless of their abilities and or differences, have access to quality education. It emerged as a movement in the last decade of the 20th century to promote equal opportunities in education. Today, it remains a fundamental objective in many educational systems, with the approaches that seek to adapt to the individual needs of students and foster learning environments that value diversity, right?
Right. The antecedents of inclusive education date back to social and legislative movements that advocated for equal rights and opportunities for people with disabilities. In the mind of 20th century, segregated educational models began to be questioned and the integration of students with disabilities to regular schools was promoted.
All right. Now, this evolved into the concept of inclusive education, which not only encompasses integration but also seeks to adapt the education system to address the individual needs of all students, regardless of their differences. This evolution has been driven by civil rights movements, academic research, and legislative changes in many countries. Quality education is considered a human right for all people. Those whose essential qualities are, first of all, being a fundamental human right. B. Be inclusive and equitable. C. Be cooperative and supportive. D. Have collective responsibility and interconnection. And D, or E, give through thorough life.
That's right. Today, inclusive education remains a fundamental objective in many educational systems worldwide. It focuses on creating learning environments that promote participation, respect for diversity, and equity. Approaches vary across countries, but generally focus on adapting curriculum, providing additional supports and resources, training teachers in inclusive methodologies, and fostering collaboration between educators, families, and communities to ensure equal educational opportunities for all students, regardless of their difference.
All right, now to close this podcast, let's close this section by reiterating the will of our country and specifically the state of Nuevo León, expressed in the UNESCO 2021 report of reimagining our futures together through a new social contract for education, with the conviction that our state will be the best place to be born, grown, educated, and live in the short term. Thank you for listening, and I hope we can see each other on the next episode. We are talking about the BAPCs.
Yes.
And if you have any question or something, thank you. You can send them into our email. And thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Yarali. Follow us and thank you for listening us. Bye.
Bye.